everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about, the thoughts that are going through your head when you're, considering quitting drinking. And if you're new to my channel, thanks for stopping by. My name is Rhett. I used to drink a lot. I spent most of my life drinking. My life was centered around partying and drinking, and I quit drinking about 2.5 years ago, almost 2.5 years ago. So this channel is about my journey to sobriety. I share, tips and tricks and things that worked for me to finally walk away from alcohol for good, things that didn't work. So, welcome. If you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe, and check out some of the other videos on my channel. So, like I said, I want to talk about kind of the thought process when it comes to deciding to quit, deciding if you are able to quit. It's not an easy decision, it's not an easy choice. There's a lot of fear that comes along with that choice, to become sober. For me, I wasn't sure if I would be able to quit drinking. And it took me about 2 to 3 years to be able to finally walk away from it for good. But in the beginning, there's a lot of self-doubt that starts to arise when, you know, you're deciding to quit. And that was really tough for me. My whole life has been, not my whole life, but I would say more than half of it has been centered around drinking. Like it was my identity. Everywhere I went, hanging out with friends, like I felt like I had to drink a lot, kind of be like the life of the party. And maybe not that I had to, but I enjoyed it until the next day. It was all fun and games until it's time to go home, and you drank way more than you wanted to, you drank way more than you intended to, and then the next day you feel like shit, extremely hungover, and the guilt sets in because going into situations, I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to drink that much, or I'm not going to drink at all. And as soon as I get there, all these just excitement comes over me, and it's what I always do. And so naturally I go right to drinking, and one thing leads to another. I'm just going to have 2 beers, I'm just going to have 3 beers, and that was just never the case. And so when I decided that I needed to quit drinking, like it took time to be able to process how I was going to go about doing that. It took time to even build the confidence that I was even able to walk away from alcohol. Like, what would my life look like without alcohol? And I had no idea because, like I said, since I was 15, I pretty much drank every weekend. And as I got older, 4 or 5 times a week I'd be drinking, and it was just it. To be honest, as you get older, it catches up with you. You don't recover the way you used to. And when I wasn't drinking, majority of my time was recovering, going through withdrawals, and that time spent recovering was just, it was a waste. I wasn't progressing in any areas of my life. And that starts to weigh on you. Like you start to think like, wow, how could I have let alcohol like take over my life like this? Why does it have such a hold on me? Why can't I just walk away from it? And it I struggled with that. It definitely weighs on you, and it makes you think that you're not capable of living life without alcohol, and it messes with your self-worth, it messes with your confidence. So when you're thinking like, oh, can I quit drinking? The short answer is absolutely you can. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it going to happen overnight? Absolutely not. You have to think about how long you've been drinking, right? When you started drinking, you probably weren't really good at drinking. You probably were a lightweight, as they say. You could only have a couple beers and you'd be super drunk. But over time, you build up your tolerance and you drink more and more and more, and you're considered, a big drinker or a good drinker, whatever society labels that as. But the idea is when you're partying and drinking is like, oh, I can drink the most, and it becomes this kind of like contest with other people, and you don't want to be in a lightweight, that's for sure. At least I didn't want to be. And that was, I don't know, I guess it's still probably in the drinking culture now. I've been out of it for a few years, so I'm not too sure, but I know, high school, college, and even after the fact, you know, it was, frowned upon, for lack of a better term, if you were a lightweight. Um, Looking back, like, I probably would have saved a lot of money if I was a lightweight, but that wasn't the case. Like, I always was pushing the limit, always trying to drink way more than I should, way more than any human should be drinking. And all that drinking, it did a lot of damage mentally and physically, especially over the long time period that I was consuming alcohol, heavy amounts of alcohol. It weighs on your body, it weighs on your mind, and you don't have this sense of clarity you do once you give up alcohol. So your decision making is off, and that clouds your mind when you're like, can I even quit drinking? Should I quit drinking? What does my life look like if I were to quit drinking? And my advice would be, and I would tell my younger self, is like, don't worry about what your life is going to be like. You know, Stop looking into the future. Like, concentrate on the present moment and just live day to day. Try to be as present as possible. If you can go start with one day being sober and then get to day two and then get to day three and start to build momentum over time. Because you can't, you want this life without alcohol, and you're thinking months and years ahead, which is fine, but you can't live in the future, right? Because the future hasn't happened yet. It's months away, it's years away, it's weeks away, whatever the case may be. Just concentrate on being the best you can be today. And if you're gonna stop drinking, start today. Don't wait until next week. Don't wait until next month. If you think about it, if you start today, in a week, you'll be 1 week sober. And if you can keep going, in a month, you'll be 1 month sober. So don't wait. I always had this thought of like, oh, when this happens, I'll quit. Or, after the holidays, I'll quit. Or my New Year's resolution is I'm quitting. It's like, looking back, when the holidays come around, it's easy to just kind of push everything aside, your diet, how much alcohol you're drinking, because there's so many parties going on, and you're just like, oh, well, it's going to be too hard to be sober during the holidays. I'm just going to wait till New Year's. But if you start now, you'll be a few months ahead on your New Year's resolution, and it won't even be an issue. By the time you get there, you'll be used to being sober, and you can start the new year off right, which is what we all aim to be. How many times do we set our New Year's resolutions, and we make it till January, February? The gym's always super packed every January and February, or sometimes it just starts dying in February and March. It's usually back to how it normally is, and that's because people wait till New Year's Day to start their resolution, when you could start months ahead and build up momentum over time. And then by the time you get to January, it's part of your routine. It's become habit, and that really solidifies what you're trying to accomplish. So when you're deciding whether or not you can quit drinking, you can. There's no doubt about that. It's just you have to ask yourself what are you willing to do? What changes are you willing to make to live a better and healthier life? I can recall a few years ago I was trying to quit drinking, and I had some success here and there. I'd go for a few weeks, a few months at a time. And finally I was just kind of fed up, and I was like, you know what? I sat down, had a conversation with myself, and I was like, okay, I am going to I'm going to go work for myself. And what I mean by that is I'm going to hire myself to work for a company called Rhett. And so my mission after that was to do whatever I could to become a better version of myself. I was going to completely change my lifestyle, my habits, what I ate, my diet, what I watched or didn't watch, my mental diet. If if what I was doing or consuming in any way wasn't contributing to a better version of myself, then I did my best to cut it out. Now, I'm not perfect, and I kind of will eat things that aren't that good for me at times, but for the majority of the time, I am working on becoming a better version of myself. And that all started with quitting drinking. That was the biggest hurdle, and it took a few years. I did it on my own. I didn't have any help. I didn't go to AA. I didn't have sponsors. I didn't even watch YouTube videos on becoming sober, which I find kind of odd looking back, because I've been watching a lot of personal development, a lot of mindset videos over the past 5 years or more, and it never occurred to me to watch videos or even reach out for help when it came to trying to get sober. So my advice to you would be, if you need help, ask. There's no shame in admitting that you have a problem with alcohol. Reach out to a family member, a parent, a friend, a spouse. If you need to get professional help, you can hire a therapist. There's coaches available. You can go to AA. But just start today. Start now, and ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So that's all for today. I want to thank you for stopping by. If you benefited from this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you know someone that could benefit from watching this video, please share it with them. And as always, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you on the next one.